Hey guys, you're in a nutshell with me, Ina. Okay, alam ko majority of Canadians, no, at least according to surveys, support itong paghihigpit ng gobyerno ng Canada sa mga immigrants. Paghihigpit, pagbabawas sa tatanggaping mga immigrants in the coming years. Pero alam niyo, may ilang mga probinsya po sa Canada na merong mga opisyal, mga local officials doon, saying that, they're not very happy about the tightening of rules towards immigrants. Why? Because karamihan po dito sa mga probinsya nagsasabi niyan, may labor shortage. Okay, kailangan po nila ng mga immigrants basically to add to their workforce. Yan po ang pag-uusapan natin in this episode. So I guess this would be good for those who might still want to migrate, move to Canada kahit na ganito ang sitwasyon dito. This is another option for you. So yan po ang ating pag-uusapan. Kasama, ayan, ang ating suking si Dayanara in Puerto Pantigue. Ang kanyang contact information nandyan po sa description box. Okay, ang dami pa rin lagi nagtatanong dyan sa comment section tuwing may episode tayo. It's always there sa description box. So thank you so much, Dayanara, again for being
here. Thank you so much, Miss. Thank you for accommodating us. Kasi alam ko you're not feeling so well right now, but
I know. Ano ba ito? Mauubo na naman ako. Pasensya na. Tama si Dayanara. Baka may mga nagtataka. Ba't hindi ako nakakapag-upload? Almost 1 week na. It's because I've been, yung boses ko, medyo okay na to sa lagay na to. But I've not been feeling well the past few days. Nakakaloka. I spent Christmas sick. Ano ba yan? Kaya na. But anyway, that's okay. I'm getting better. So, alam mo, there's been a number of articles about this topic, Dayanara. Para lang makita ng mga viewers natin. This is about some provinces expressing their sentiments towards sa paghihigpit ng
The reaction to yesterday's announcement has not all been negative. The Société Nationale de l'Acadie has praised the federal government.
Ayan, for example, this one. Okay, sabi ng maritime organizations, itong tightening of rules towards immigrants, sending the message that migrants are to blame. Oy, iba pa tong angulo na to, no?
Yes, it's a different angle po, Ms. Ina. But the bottom line is I believe there have been 100 organizations all over Canada who are pledging against yung certain parts of the certain aspects nung pagtatighten ng rules against immigration. There are certain, I think more than 100 organizations have already pledged, have already signed against that. Na parang what's happening po kasi is, what they're saying is, the IRCC and the Government of Canada are implementing a one-size-fits-all approach. Na parang, dahil may malaking problema yung ibang mga lugar, specifically Vancouver, Calgary, Toronto, Southwestern Ontario in general, mainly yung mga nasa southern, bigger metropolitan areas, may mga problema sila sa housing, nagkakaproblema sa housing, and all of that, sa health and all of that, ay naapektuhan yung ibang mga lugar na merong room to grow. So what they're arguing is, you cannot parang apply a one-size-fits-all approach because not all areas in Canada are, kumbaga, brimming with immigrants. Parang punong-puno na sumasobra na. There are areas that actually need targeted, specific immigration to grow.
Okay. Ito pa, another article from the Financial Post. Major labor shortage looms in Atlantic Canada naman ito. As immigration cuts take hold. And lastly, parang ma-establish natin, baka sabihin nila, walang basihan tong ating discussion. One more, meron pa dito Ayan, ito naman, hinaing ng isang mayor somewhere in Northern Ontario.
Yes, different mayors actually, Ms. Ina. Meron sa,
different mayors.
Sa Thunder Bay, Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, mayors na nagsasabi na, don't make us pay. Parang they're saying na, don't make us pay for the difficulties and the errors that might have done in the South. Diba? Na parang dahil syempre dumami naman po talaga, totoo naman yun, dumami talaga yung mga immigrants, newcomers, international students, specifically sa southern cities like Toronto, Mississauga, ganyan. So parang don't make us pay for that. Kasi kami dito, iba yung usapan sa amin. Hindi kami, yung cost of living namin hindi ganun kataas, yung aming housing ay hindi ganun kamahal, and meron kaming labor shortages na kailangan din namin i-address. Meron din kaming aging population na kailangan namin i-address. At ito ay matutulungan or masusolusyonan in a way ng targeted immigration. So that's what they're saying, yeah.
Oo, no? Lalo na siguro, I guess, itong Northern Ontario because Ontario is one of the provinces na talagang pinag-ihigipitan because, Toronto is here. Affected nga naman siguro itong mga nasa Northern Ontario.
Affected talaga sila kasi, miss. Kasi parang, dati, parang according to one of the mayors doon is, dati, umu-okay na yung kanilang immigration levels. Parang yung population nila umaakit na, which hasn't happened in a long time. And then, of course, darating na naman yung mga cuts. So, eto na naman, maaaring bumaba na naman o magkaroon na naman sila ng shortage sa mga, specifically dun sa mga kailangan nilang industries like sa healthcare, sa construction, kailangan nila ng tulong sa mga industries po na yan.
Yan. Okay. O sige, can you identify, Dayanara, these mostly rural areas, claiming or saying na hindi alam mo kami, kailangan pa namin ng mga tao. For those who might be interested, to look into it.
Well, Miss Ina, pag sinabi kasing rural, meron tayong connotation na, parang 5,000 lang yung tao, parang ganyan. Parang wala pang masyadong apartments, baka walang hospital doon, o ganyan.
Walang kapitbahay.
Walang kapitbahay for miles and miles. And certainly, there are areas in Canada that are like that. Maikwento ko lang po, noong 2022, nagkaroon kasi kami ng pagkakataon ng asawa ko na makamove sa Calgary. Tinanay namin yung natumira sa Calgary. So what we did was to drive from Toronto papuntang Calgary. So that was like 4 to 5 days ng pagdadrive, ng mahaba. So nadaanan namin ang Northern Ontario. 2 araw kami nagdadrive sa Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, papuntang Alberta. So nakita namin yan. And there are certainly areas in Canada na talagang wala kang kapitbahay. So merong, lalo sa gitna, lalo dun sa bandang Manitoba, Saskatchewan areas, talagang flatlands yan na wala kang masyadong kababa dun sa mga bandang gitna. But there are certainly areas like na dinaanan din po namin gaya ng Sudbury, which is like 6 hours from Toronto. Hindi naman ganun ka-rural, hindi naman po yung parang wala talagang tao. It's still a bustling city. Kumbaga, pero tayo kasi mga Pilipino, kung sanay tayo sa Maynila, talagang maninibago tayo sa a city of 50,000 people or 30,000 people or, maninibago talaga tayo. Doon kumpara natin sa Makati, sa Quezon City, sa Manila.
Wala pang isang barangay yun sa Pilipinas.
Diba? Diba po, parang napakaliit. London, for example, where we live, we have, I think, 500,000 people. Calgary has 1 million people. So, kumbaga, there are differences. Pero yung Sudbury, Thunder Bay, Sault Ste. Marie, yan po yung mga areas na nasa Northern Ontario. North Bay, Timmins, yan po yung mga cities sa Northern Ontario na parte ng rural and northern immigration pilot, yung dating RNIP, na ngayon ay nire-revive nila at ginagawa nilang permanent under rural Community Immigration Class or RCIC, which is very easy to remember kasi RCIC din ako. So parang Rural Community Immigration Class na po siya, hindi na po siya pilot kasi it's going to be, I believe, a permanent program now.
Yun. Oo nga. Sige, mamaya guys we'll tackle that RCIC program.
Yes po.
Yan, specifically to cater to those who might be interested to, mag-research tungkol sa paglilipat sa rural areas here in Canada. So, yung sinasabi mo kanina lagi na these provinces saying that they have a labor shortage are in need of targeted, yan, parang, targeted immigration, ang tawag dun? Targeted immigration, I guess.
Specified. Opo, specified immigration.
So, what do you mean by that? What usually ang mga jobs na hinahanap sa mga rural areas?
Opo. In those articles po na pinakita niyo po kanina, mainly they are looking for tradespeople. So those who are in the construction field. So yung isang in-interview nila is in need of electricians, in need so most of the cities are building houses, building homes. So they are in need of construction workers, plumbers, those who are skilled with HVAC, and all of that. So ito rin po mga centers na ito, gaya po ng Sudbury, for example, is a mining city. So mga minahan ito. So kailangan nila usually ng mga experts doon sa field na yon. May mga companies doon na nagsusupport for PR na nasa mining industry sila. Meron din po silang mga manufacturing facilities. So kailangan din nila ng mga millwrights, ganyan, industrial maintenance technicians, ganyan kailangan nila kasi syempre po pag nasisira yung mga machines nila doon, hindi sila makakapag-produce. Masisira yung kanilang production. So, yun yung mga kailangan nila. So, ang ina-advise ko po, Ms. Ina, is if you wish to like move to Canada and still preserve that chance na makapag-apply ng PR in the future, these are good places to target. And if mag-aaral po kayo, ito yung mga programs na aaralin ninyo. Kasi po, syempre tayo, ang ina-expect po kasi nung iba is, galing ka sa Dubai, electrician ka doon, pagdating mo sa Canada, electrician ka rin agad-agad. Hindi ganun eh. So usually, when you come to Canada, you have to train, you have to undergo training, apprenticeship, you have to undergo some education to get to that position ng electrician or plumber or welder. Sometimes kailangan din ng training. So, kung mag-i-invest po kayo ng inyong international education, instead of going for generic programs like business, accounting, ganyan, maybe see if this is a possibility for you. Yung maging millwright, maging healthcare worker like practical nurse or personal support worker para may kahit papaano may assurance na makakapag-apply po kayo ng post-graduation work permit at malaki din ang pagkakataon na makapag-apply po ng PR down the line.
Yeah. Oh, guys, again, it just increases your chances of becoming PR. There is no
assurance
that you will become a permanent.
But honestly, Ms. Ina, I'm gonna say this po kasi I have clients that I sent sa maritime provinces. Pag sinabing maritime provinces, Newfoundland, PEI, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, and then yung mga area ng Sudbury, Thunder Bay. I have clients that I sent to those areas, and nung simula, nagagalit sila sa akin kasi bakit mo kami dito dinala? Dapat doon na lang kami nagpunta sa Edmonton, may kamag-anak kami doon. Dapat nagpunta na lang kami ng Calgary, may kamag-anak kami doon. Dapat nagpunta kami sa Toronto. Tapos ngayon na naghihigpit ang Canada ngayon, 9 out of 10 of them either nakapag-apply na ng PR or mag-a-apply na ng PR because they were given the advantage na doon magsimula. Doon na sila nakasettle, hindi na nila kailangan lumipat. So marami sa kanila, karamihan sa kanila ay meron na pong PR pathway or nakapag-apply na ng PR. May isa akong client sa Yuri na na PR sila and then ngayon parang nag-establish siya ng Filipino community doon. So I'm so proud na yun yung naging papel ko sa kanilang buhay na kahit paano naging instrumento ako para makapunta sila doon at makapagpa-PR sila sa kabila ng hirap na dinadanas ng karamihan ngayon na makapag-apply ng PR. So what I'm saying is wala naman po talagang assurance. Pero it increases your chances significantly compared to you going to Calgary, Edmonton, Toronto. Yeah.
Actually, I think that would be one of the biggest concerns right now. Sabihin nila, Dayara, ito na naman, baka sumugal kami dyan sa mga rural areas, tapos next week, next month, biglang maghihigpit din sa rules sa immigrants dyan sa mga rural areas na yan. And what you're saying is, it's a safer bet. Parang ganon.
It's a safer bet. If you're going to risk, because everything in life, especially moving to another country, moving to another environment, everything about that is risky. But it's only a matter of taking the risks na kahit papano ay merong a little bit of a guarantee of a good return. Instead of risking everything, going to Toronto, lessening your chance for PR, lessening your points. Diba? Parang I discuss this all the time with clients na nag-a-apply po ng PR. There are very, very few points na binibigay sa mga nag-aral sa Toronto at nagtatrabaho sa Toronto. Perfect yung points na binibigay dun sa mga nasa Northern Ontario, yung mga nasa smaller cities. Kasi halatang
priority. May points ba mismo yung location lang? Kasi right now, di ba, ang daming balita. There's scrapping points for job offers through Lamia. Is there specific points given to the province?
Sa express entry, Ms. Ina, wala. Express entry doesn't discriminate sa lugar kung nasaan ka. But provincial nomination systems, they do. So BCPNP, meron silang score na binibigay for regional alumni, meaning yung mga nasa less populated cities, doon sila nag-aral, and regional experience dun sa mga nagtrabaho, dun sa mga less populated areas sa BC. Sa OINP naman po, sa Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, 0, Ms. Ina, 0 points. 0 point, no point. I'm sorry. No point walang point na binibigay para dun sa mga nag-aral sa Toronto at nagtrabaho sa Toronto. Versus 8 points para doon sa mga nag-aral outside of the GTA at nagtatrabaho outside of the GTA. At 10 points, perfect score, ang binibigay doon sa mga nag-aral sa northern cities.
So in a way then, I guess, the government somewhat recognizes yung need in rural areas if they are giving extra points for those who
and creating special programs like yun nga pong RCIC, Rural Community Immigration Class, and yung nasa Atlantic Canada po, meron na silang sarili, established na yun. It's called Atlantic Immigration Program. Established na yun na PR pathway on top of provincial nomination program sa bawat isang province na nasa Atlantic Canada. So, really, di ba, multiple PR pathways are given if you choose to go there as opposed to, di ba, mga matataong lugar po sa Canada.
And let's just clarify, no? Baka sabihin ng iba, yung RCIC, yung rural, kalimutan ko na yung
Rural
RCIC.
Community Immigration Class.
Yeah, it's not yet in effect. Pero in-announce na siya that it will be, I believe, sometime in 2025.
Yes.
Okay, wag kayong, so may time pa kayo, I guess, to prepare for it. But initially, I believe merong mga requirements or eligibility na binanggit na if you want
to. Po, naka-line up na po yung eligibility. Meron na silang diniscuss na I believe maglalabas po sila ng listahan ng employers. So sa Atlantic Immigration Program kasi po, Ms. Ina, bawat isang probinsya dun sa 4 na yon, may listahan sila ng designated employers. So, ibig sabihin, sila lang yung mga employers na maaaring mag-support sa isang aplikante na nag-a-apply ng PR under AIP. I believe maglalabas din sila ng ganun klaseng listahan for Rural Community Immigration Class. So, it's better. Kasi at least ako, sa sarili ko, kung ako man yung mag-a-apply, alam ko na, okay, ito mga employer na itatarget ko. Or kapag na-offeran ako ng employer na to, tatanggapin ko. Kasi makakatulong sila sa akin down the line para makapag-apply po ako ng PR.
Meron ako nakita dito parang may eligibility. For example, dito sa... Baka mali pa yung mabanggit ko. May mga language eligibility requirements na binanggit for the RCIC.
Alam mo, Ms. Ina, ang maganda dyan, kasi kung titingnan po ninyo yung express entry, ang tinatanggap lang na express entry is tier 0 to 3. So yung mga skilled, diba? Hanggang tier 3 yung pinakamababa. But if you look at RCIC and Atlantic Immigration Program, they do accept tier 4 and tier 5 jobs.
Okay.
Diba? So, tapos, Ms. Ina, ang nakakatuwa sa kanya, wala silang scoring system. Kasi po ang OINP may scoring system. Ang Alberta ngayon, meron na. Ang BC, meron na. Pero ang express entry, scoring system. Pero yung RCIC and yung AIP, wala. Wala pa sa ngayon. Plus, wala pong rules against those who are older. Like if you're in your 50s, or in your 60s, walang ganong klaseng discrimination or walang nababawas na point o nadadagdag na point kapag mas bata ka. Walang nababawas na point, nadadagdag na point kapag medyo low-skilled yung work mo or nasa, for example, nasa manufacturing ka, machine operator, ganyan, versus someone who's a manager. Diba? So, it's a good thing for me. Kasi po napakarami ngayong PR pathways, Mas Ina, na NOC specific. Meaning, ito lang mga trabaho to ang pwede mag-apply ng PR. Ito lang may sahod na ganito ang pwede mag-apply ng PR. But with AIP and RCIC, they don't have that. At least, not yet.
Not yet. Again, so that means this could change, guys, after publishing. Tapos, could this apply, I'm sure, yung mga namomroblema ngayon, Dayanara, sa kanilang PR pathway, those who are already inside Canada,
yes,
could this apply to them? Could this help them rather?
Definitely.
Pwede ba lilipat sila, ganun. Kunyari, if they're not in these rural areas, what can they do?
Yes po. And people are doing that now, Miss Ina. I have clients who are transferring from Toronto to Atlantic Canada, Toronto to Northern Ontario, and nag-a-apply sila ng PR doon sa mga lugar na yun. So yes, this is already being done, and it is advisable, especially to those who don't have a lot of time. Yan. Ang lagi ko pong sinasabi is make sure to do a consultation as early as possible to determine yung inyong PR chances. And kung wala ka palang PR pathway sa lugar kung nasan ka, now is the time to consider transferring to other areas, like yung mga dinidiscuss po natin. Because you don't want to waste time. Diba? Nasa Toronto ka, yung employer mo hindi supportive, you don't want to waste time. Diba? You don't have the luxury of time. Hindi po katulad, may mga nakikilala kasi ako, Miss Ina, na meron sila mga PR pathway na pinalampas nila. So, that's really sad.
So you would advise them to move provinces right now, kahit hindi pa siya officially announced, hindi pa officially implemented rather?
Well, kasi na-publish na po siya sa Canada Gazette. So, that means it's only a matter of time. So, if you plan to move, now is the time to send your resumes. Diba? Para by the time na magbukas siya, settled ka na, hopefully, dun sa employer mo. Diba? Kasi po, syempre, Miss Ina, hindi naman lahat ng employer ay oras na ma-hire ka, tutulungan ka nila agad mag-apply. Syempre, there are employers na lalagay ka muna nila sa parang trial period, and then after a certain number of months or probably up to a year, saka ka nila o-offera ng tulong para makapag-apply ng PR. It just makes sense, diba? Parang, some employers would like to test your ability kung tatagal ka. And ang ina-advise ko lang po, Miss Ina, doon sa mga mapi-PR, dito sa mga programs na to, huwag po kayong agad aalis.
Nako! Go ahead.
Don't do that na parang, okay, sige, pupunta kami ng Northern Ontario, magpa-PR kami doon, and then after a few months naming ma-PR, babalik na kami sa Toronto kasi may kamag-anak kami sa Toronto. Don't do that because once you sign up to, apply for PR dito sa mga na humingi kayo ng tulong dito sa mga cities na ito, mga provinces na ito, you are essentially telling them that your plan is to stay in those cities and provinces for a long time or, in perpetuity. Kumbaga.
Yeah.
May permanence yung inyong plano. Pero kung aalis kayo after just a few months, without particular reason why, that can result in misrepresentation, and lumalabas yan usually kapag po nag-a-apply na ng citizenship.
Yun, that's the possible consequence. Actually, may nagtatanong sa akin yan sa comment section. At marami talagang concern dyan. Okay, so it may impact your chances of becoming citizenship.
Yes.
Patay, paano yan? Kunyari may mga gumawa na yan. What could be their remedy? Nandun na sila sa ibang probinsya, PR. Then they left.
The remedy would be to come back and wait muna na makapag-apply ng citizenship bago po kayo. Kasi yung pag citizen, kahit papano, you're really protected already. Diba? Wala nang very, very few reasons why mare-revoke ang citizenship. One is misrepresentation. Nung nag-a-apply ka pa lang ng PR, like, pero very, very few ang pathways, kumbaga, ang process para matanggalan ka ng citizenship versus your permanent residence. So, ang advice ko talaga po in general is, usually kailangan mo na lang naman ng 2 years or 2 to 3 years or so para makapag-apply ng citizenship. So, hintayin mo na din. Yung iba naman po, Miss Ina, I'm so happy na ang dami ko din naman po mga kliyente na nagsisettle na sila doon. Nagde-decide na sila na dito na kami kasi makakabili kami ng bahay dito. Konti ang kompetensya ng anak ko sa school, hindi ganun kadami yung mga kaklase niya, so nakakapag-focus yung mga teachers sa kanila. Tapos, meron akong room for growth, nakakakuha ako ng higher position kasi less din yung competition ko. Hindi ganun. Di ba po, maraming advantages din po sa pagtira sa isang lugar na hindi ganun karami yung tao.
Ayun. Okay. And guys, hindi lang ang RCIC ang mag-offer ng parang pathway to PR for those in rural areas. As Dayanara mentioned earlier, halimbawa, meron na nga sa Atlantic Region, Atlantic Immigration Program kung tawagin. And there are others in other provinces. Tama to. I'm looking at the talking points again sent to me by Dayanara. Meron sa BC, tama, entry-level semi-skilled stream.
Yes po.
Na nagpa-prioritize sa Northeast region.
Yes.
There is one in Alberta, Rural Renewal Stream.
Yes po.
Sa Manitoba, may bago din daw, West Central Immigration Initiative Pilot. So meron talaga, parang ina-acknowledge naman pala talaga, no? Alam ng gobyerno na may need din sa mga rural areas, kahit naghihigpit sila generally.
Yes po. So, parang balansado naman po. Hindi naman po nila, kumbaga, tinatanggalan ng pagkakataon yung mga nasa malalaking lugar. Pero certainly advantageous talaga yung mga ginagawa nilang PR pathway na ito para doon sa mga pinipili na punan itong mga lugar na wala masyadong tao sa Canada, because at the end of the day, Ms. Ina, Canada is the second largest country in the world. Second largest country in the world. And we only have 40 million people. That's just 1/3 probably of the Philippine population. But the thing is, most of us live in certain areas, southwestern Ontario, Calgary, Alberta, Edmonton, Vancouver. So the goal now is to populate other areas. Kasi syempre may mga tao din doon. Some people choose to retire there, 'di ba? So kailangan meron silang maging mag-aasikaso sa kanila doon. Some people choose to gaya ng mga mining industry, dun lang talaga yung lugar na pwede sila, hindi mo naman pwede ilipat yung minahan. So talagang may pangangailangan, Ms. Ina, na kailangan nating i-address at kailangan i-address ng Government of Canada.
Yeah. So now I'm starting to wonder, ba't kaya nagko-complain pala yung ilan kung meron namang existing programs na yan, Hara? Ba't gano'n? I don't know.
Like nagko-complain po, sino po ba yung...
No, I mean the articles that we showed. Kung meron naman palang existing rural programs for immigrants, di ba?
Yes po. Well, I would say po kasi na kapag, dahil nga po, di ba, hinigpitan nila yung LMIA. So, mahirap ngayon magpapunta dito ng workers. Hinigpitan nila yung international student stream, na international student pathway, kung saan nagiging source din yun of workers. Mas ina kasi yung international student, pagka-graduate nila, nagiging workers sila. And then yung mga asawa nila ay nagiging workers din, nagiging, kumbaga, empleyado din dun sa mga company na yon. But these programs have been, kumbaga, parang nakat, nabawasan. Yeah. So yun yung nagiging source, I believe, ng complaint ng mga organizations na nasa maritime provinces at nasa northern cities na kami yung mawawalan kami ngayon ng source namin, ng workforce namin, ng young workforce. Kasi ang kinakatwiran po nung iba is, i-training na lang natin yung mga batang Canadians. So, i-training natin yung mga batang Canadians, ganyan. So, ang argument po nila is, we need workers who can start as soon as possible. Diba? It just makes sense. If you're a businessman, you need someone who can start as soon as possible. Yung meron na siyang daladalang skills. Or kahit paano ay madali na siyang ihulma. It's not as easy to get, these skilled workforce from younger Canadians. Kailangan pa nila ng several years to train. And also, Ms. Ina, I have to point this out, na itong mga workers na ito na re-recruit from outside Canada na may daladalang skill, maaaring sila din yung maging mentors ng mga batang Canadians. Masha-share din nila yung knowledge nila at matitraining nila yung mga batang Canadians down the line na sana hindi na natin kailanganin mag-recruit in the future kasi natitraining na sila. The reality is, Ms. Ina, we have a population problem. hindi ganun kabilis na papalitan, yung nare-replace yung mga nagre-retire at yung mga namamatay nating mga mga kababayan dito sa Canada. So hindi ganun kadali eh. So it's a balancing act. Now the bottom line is ang hinihiling nila ng mga nasa Atlantic Canada po at nasa northern cities ay don't make us pay, don't do a one size fits all approach. Kumbaga talk to us, give us a chance na bigyan niyo kami ng pagkakataon na mapuna namin yung pangangailangan namin at hindi kami tratuhin the same way nung nasa south, ng mga talagang populated areas na.
Alright. O guys, if you are considering this o napapaisip ko yung consult RCICs, okay? Yung mga regulated
lawyers, yes.
Or immigration lawyers, also
yes,
research on the backgrounds of people you talk to. Okay? Alright. O meron pa ba tayong na-miss, Nara? I think that's it.
Opo. Ang advice ko lang po, Ms. Ina, is if you're going to look for help, yung po mga nasa Pilipinas pa or nasa ibang bansa pa, if you're going to look for help, I would suggest look for assistance, yung mga makakatulong po sa inyo from the study permit path, kung papunta man kayo dito para mag-aral, papunta sa PR. Okay? Make sure to have someone na yung kukuhanin ninyo is kaya kayong tulungan mula simula hanggang huli. Kasi ang dami ko po nakikita nagkakaproblema dyan na tinulungan silang makapasok sa Canada as student kung anong program lang yung binigay, parating sa PR problema pala. You need a parang comprehensive approach from simula hanggang huli, which is PR usually, para hindi po kayo magkaroon ng problema down the line.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be advisable.
Correct. Ay, okay. Well, thank you as always, Dayanara. O, parang bumuti na agad yung ko. Siguro gamot lang pala dito ay more episodes, Now I feel my voice.
Exercise, Ms. Ina. Workout.
Sinus. But anyway, thank you so much. Guys, again, her contact information will be down there in the comment section. Okay, so I will end this episode here. Maraming salamat, Dayanara.
Thank you
po. Happy holidays,
Happy holidays. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, okay. Bye. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.